I guess the first thing, let's just talk about when, like the first thing you can remember from when you was little. Well, first tell your name and when you was born, you know, like your birthday and who your mom and dad was.
Well, my name's Helen Reynolds. I was born March 13th, 1928 on Cancer Ridge. Back then, they didn't go to the hospital. They just stayed home, and we were born at home.
What'd you sleep in? A crib or?
No, we just slept in the bed. When we fell off, we learned not to do that.
So what was your mom and dad's name?
Mom's name was Dorothy Albert Taylor, and Daddy's was John Dewey Slate. And they was and there was 11 of us children. It was my older sister, Pauline, Mary Pauline, and then me, Helen Geraldine, and James Harvey, and Evelyn Lorraine, and Raymond Peary, and John Dewey, we called him J.D., and Joanne, just Joanne was her name, and then Urshel Wayne, and Zelma Joyce, and Dean, and Stevie Dale.
Well, how would y'all get water? Like for washing and bathing and cooking?
Well, we had a big old rain barrel, and we'd catch it when it would come a rain, but if it didn't, you carried it up that hill to wash, because that was the only way you had to get it. And then it was way down and under the hill, and we had to keep our milk and butter and everything down there. But back then, you could set anything down anywhere you wanted to, and nobody ever bothered it. But now you couldn't set nothing out when somebody wouldn't get it.
So you had to go down there to the spring?
Yeah, and
get water in buckets?
Yeah, carried it up a hill in buckets. And in the summertime, that down where our spring was, and where we kept where the spring box was, there was a house down there. I don't think you can get around that way now. I'm not sure, but there was a family lived down there. They were Owenses. I can remember. And Mom would go. No, down when we lived on Cancer Ridge.
Oh, Cancer Ridge.
And Mom would take her clothes down there and heat the water outside, build a fire and heat the water outside, and then we'd wash down there.
Well, she heated it outside. What, she had a big kettle?
She'd heat it in a tub.
In a tub?
Yeah, they had a thing built that the tub would sit on, and then built a fire under that, and you had to keep the fire going to keep hot water. And Mom would wash and dry her clothes down there in the summertime, but we couldn't do it in the wintertime. We just had to, and most of the time she had rainwater to wash in. And we didn't have like people have today. We didn't have that many clothes. I mean, you had to keep them clean in order to have clean clothes, because we didn't have that many. You know, when you lived on a farm, worked on a farm, you didn't have that much, and that's what Dad did when we lived at Cancer Ridge. And you didn't have all that much.
What kind of, like, on birthdays and stuff, what kind of presents did y'all get presents on your birthday?
I can't remember back then if we even recognized birthdays. I'm not sure.
You didn't have, like, cakes and parties?
No, Lord, no, we never had a party. Never.
When you was little, what's something that you remember, like you all of you got together and you all went somewhere to, did you ever go to any big community thing?
When I was little, all I can remember is whenever they'd have what they called all days meeting and dinner on the ground. We'd pack, we had a great big old trunk. It was about like that. and it's about that wide. And Daddy would, you know, fill that full of sandwiches. Dad and Mom would fill it full of sandwiches and cakes and stuff like that. And we'd go take it, and everybody would eat. You know, people would take enough stuff till anybody could eat out of it. Share, yeah. And we'd just take it, and when it come time for dinner, just open it up and let people get what they wanted, eat what they wanted. But that's about the only time when we were that, you know, that small that I can remember just going to those meetings.
When did y'all get your first telephone? Do you remember? Did you have one when you was growing up?
Oh, Mom and them have a phone?
Yeah, when you was living at home, did y'all ever have a telephone?
Oh, no.
Did you know any of your neighbors had telephones?
Yeah, no, I don't remember. It just was unusual for anybody. Most of the time, like if you wanted to call somebody, you would have to go out to town to call them.
Well, where did they have a phone at in town?
Well, like the Henweiser store had one in the depot, and that's about where you had to go.
Did you have to pay to use it?
I don't know whether they did or not, because I never did use the phone.
You never did make a phone call?
I never made a phone call. I wouldn't know how. I didn't know hardly what one was.
How old was you before you made your first phone call?
Lord have mercy, Randy, I don't remember that now.
When you and Charlie was married, you didn't have a phone, did you?
No. First phone we got was, did we live in a Dalton Edition? That's what I thought.
That was about 1965 or 6?
No, Deb remembers it. It's,
Yeah.
So how did you get a hold of anybody if you needed,
you just went to the neighbor. And
The neighbor had a phone.
neighbors had a phone all around us after we moved into.
Well, before you moved into Richlands, when you lived out on Kent's Ridge or anything?
There wasn't no phones out on Kent's Ridge. There wasn't no phones up on Kent's Ridge at that time.
Oh. Was there electricity?
Mm-mm.
An emergency, or you had an emergency, or the baby was on its way, or something, then you had to go to their house.
Yeah, you had to go to the neighbors.
Not to
Okay, why don't you ask Mama a question, Hannah, about something?
I don't want to.
What kind of games did y'all play when you was little?
We played hopscotch and skipped the loo and jumped the rope. That's about it for the girls.
Did you ever get hurt playing games
No,
that you can remember?
No.
Any brothers and sisters?
not that I can remember.
Your daddy used to take you on hikes, didn't he? Walk through the woods, but neither one that taught you the names of trees and flowers and plants.
Yeah, that was. We used to go chinky pin hunting and hunting chestnuts. We had big old chestnut trees above the road where we lived on Kent's Ridge. Yeah, and I used to walk and go to the store with him. I hadn't started school then, but I could walk and go to the store with Daddy. Plumb off in Kent's Ridge down Swords Creek.
How far was that? How long did it take?
It'd be well, at that time it wasn't like it is for people walking now. They had to walk, and so it didn't matter that much. We'd be gone for over hours, you know, walk down there and get our groceries and walk back. You know where, you knew where the old home place was, where we showed you. Well, we walked off from there, but we didn't we didn't go around the road, you know. We went down over the hill, like down, had passed down over the hill, and then we come around. It wasn't really that long because you had to walk. You walked fast.
You ever run up on any animals?
Didn't pay attention to animals then because they were in the pastures and down through the, you know, where we had to walk.
Snakes?
No, I don't remember any snakes.
Did any of your grandparents live around you or near you that you went to see?
Oh yeah, after we got my Granny Slate died. You remember, before I was born, but we went to see Granny Taylor a lot after we moved off in Cancer Ridge, and she lived down. What was the name of that place? Anyway, it was between Honaker and Lebanon. And we'd go down there and spend a night with her. And the guy that worked at the depot, he lived on a hill right above Granny Taylor and them. And he would take us down there when he got off work at night in the evening, and then we could come back with him because he brought some of his children out to school, and we'd come back with him then on Monday morning. And she'd fry us apple pies.
Well, you would ride with him, or?
Yeah, we'd.
He had a truck or a car?
He had a car. John Miller was his name, and he worked at the post at the
Railroad depot?
Yeah, railroad depot, and he lived down other side of Honaker, but he lived up on the hill, and Granny lived down and under the hill. And we'd walk up to his house and come home with him, me and Pauline. And he'd bring us home the next on Monday mornings. And that's how we got back at the board to see Granny and Grandpa.
Oh. That was your Grandpa Taylor and Granny Taylor?
Yeah.
Ike and Mary?
Yeah. And then, like I say, Granny Slate died the year before I was born, and then Grandpa, he'd come up and stay with us a lot. And he would stay with us a while, and then he'd go back to, some of the other kids and stay. I can remember that, him coming up there, and he used to bring Pauline. He thought there wasn't nobody like Pauline, and he'd bring her that candy, hard, like Christmas candy, and it would be like, you can get these long ones where they just go over in a row, and he'd bring that when he'd come. And some nights where he would walk up in Cancer Ridge, where he would walk, why, some nights he'd come in, he'd be so cold, but nevertheless he would come. And he'd stay with us a while, and then he'd go back to some of the rest of them.
Did you, when you was going to school, did you like school?
Well, yes, I liked school, but after I got up into the, big enough to help with the other kids, like I say, there's 11 of us, and I'd have to stay out and help Mom with the laundry. Of course, we washed for years. I was already married before Mom ever had a wash machine. And we had to wash on the board. And I'd stay up and help with the washing, help carry water. We didn't have running water. We'd carry water and help her with the washing. And it got longer it went,
Now,
I wasn't going.
How'd you do laundry? I mean, just tell us exactly every step how you did laundry.
Well, we heated the water in a tub on the stove. And we had 2 tubs. Mom would wash out of one, and I'd wash out of the other one.
Well, did you have to build a fire in the stove?
Yeah,
Heated the water?
yeah. It was they call them cold stoves, if that's what you want to call them. But they was heated. They was hot when they got hot.
So when you got ready to do laundry, you had to build a fire.
We kept a fire in the kitchen about all the time because Mom had cooked beans or was cooking something, for dinner and for lunch and for dinner and all that. Biggest part of the time, a fire stayed in our kitchen stove. Even after Daddy went to work in the mines, we had to keep a fire and put a tub, carry a tub of water and put it on the stove so him. And Charlie too, your Daddy's done that too. To take his bath in.
Well, tell us about doing the laundry then. So you heat the water and then what?
Yeah, and we had it set it in chairs. You know how these old timey chairs was made. You've seen older chairs. Well, we had 2 chairs, and we'd have Mom would wash them out of the first water, or I would, whichever one did, and then the other one would wash them out of the next water, and put them over in the rinse water.
Well, how did you wash them?
On a washboard. You know what a washboard is, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's what we did. We did just like that.
Just
and
rubbed it back and forth?
Yeah, and would rub them hard off your hands, knuckles.
Would it bleed?
Yeah, they'd be sore.
Well, wouldn't that get on the clothes?
No, there's too much water in there for it to get on the clothes.
What kind of soap did you use?
What they used to call Oxton soap. It was just a round yellow bar. We had about out of the store, and it's wrapped in a white paper and had OCTON on it. I can remember that old soap. And we boil them in lye water too sometimes. I can't remember. Maybe we used bleach. I'm not sure. It's been so long. I can't remember whether we had bleach back then or not. But I guess we did. But
so you was next oldest. So did you and Pauline help take care of the little ones a lot?
Yeah. Polly, after she got up old enough, why there was people that needed somebody to help with smaller children, and she's like me. She dropped out of school too, and she would stay with other people and help with children, neighbors.
Paid for that?
Yeah, she got paid, but Lord, it wasn't nothing. Wasn't enough to buy her a dress.
When you was little and going to school, was your daddy? Where did he work then? Was he a farmer then, or did he?
No, Daddy worked for Charles Compton back. That's what I remember. He worked for Charles Compton and Irie Hilton.
And what did they do?
They had coal mines that you rode ponies, pulled the coal in and out on a car. They had a car. It was like a wooden car, and it was real wide. You know what I'm talking about. And it had sides built up on it to hold the coal in, so it wouldn't fall off.
Well, how long, or where did he go work in the mines at?
His first working in the mines was for Irie Hilton.
Where was his mines?
That was up Miller Creek, way back up in the holler at Miller Creek. You know where Miller Creek is?
Was it down there near Hunter?
No, it's up next. You come through Swords Creek and you go.
Oh, it's up in there.
Yeah, you not traveled down through there much, did you?
No.
Well, I couldn't tell you where the block church was at. Only you went on up there and you turned to the left, and then we lived up in that holler. When we moved from Swords Creek, we moved there.
What was your house like? What kind of house did you have?
Well, up on Cancer Ridge, we had 3 rooms, kitchen, and the other 2 were bedrooms. And then after we moved off...
Was it a wooden house?
Yeah, it was a wooden house. Every house.
What did it look like? I mean, how was it painted? What kind of roof did it have?
Lord, I don't know what kind of roof it had. It had I guess it was, tin roof, because that's what they made. That's usually what they had back then, tin or tar paper, what they called it, tar paper roofing.
How old was you when you moved out to Miller Creek?
What was it, about 10, I guess about 10 years old. With Miller Creek. And I was trying to think where we moved.
Who was the neighbors you had when you lived up in there, and the kids you played with?
Wasn't too many kids to play with up there. We had, it was like Ruth Moore and Blaine, and that was about it. We had some neighbors that they were Shoops, but their kids were real small. They wasn't our age. But we'd go down and help, tend to them sometimes while their parents were canning or doing whatever they had to do. They didn't believe in doctors. The Shoops didn't. And they had one little boy, Olin Dean, I believe was his name. I think that's where Mom got Dean's name. And they didn't believe in having doctors. They believed, like a lot of people believe today, believe in just healing, and which is nothing wrong with that. But he died. God, he was so pretty, just a little fellow. And we used to have Brush Harbor meetings up there too. They'd take poles and build up, and then they'd put things around and then put brush over top to keep the sun off it. We used to go to them too.
Where'd you go to? Was there a regular church there that y'all went to? Up in there anywhere?
No, you had to walk all the way out to Miller Creek to go to church, and we didn't go then. And then after we moved back down into Swords Creek, then I went over to, where the big white church is, like you're going across Cancer Ridge, go through Swords Creek and go across Cancer Ridge, and it's a big church. It's a brick church now. They've redone it, but it was a little white church, and it was Swords Creek Methodist Church, and that's where I went. But I was the only one that went.
Who was the preacher down there? Remember who he was?
I believe one of them was a Price, and I can't remember that. And that's where we all, when war broke out, it was, I wasn't about 15 years old. And what war was that we had?
World War II.
Yeah.
It broke out in 41.
Well, anyway, that's where we all would gather. When they bombed Pearl Harbor. Was that when it was?
Yeah.
Well, that's when we all gathered at the church to pray.
How many people come down there?
They wasn't hardly any come. It wasn't, it wasn't a very big church. And I think Brother Perry Herndon preached over there some too.
So did y'all, when you was living down there at Miller Creek and up on Swords Creek, did y'all have any stock, any pigs or chickens? Or?
We had a cow, and we had cow and chickens and hogs back up in.
Cow?
Yeah.
Who done the milking?
Mom to milk. I never could. Didn't learn.
Did you try?
Yeah, a little bit.
Or you just didn't want to milk? Well, didn't the other ones milk when they got older? Like Harvey?
Well, no. After they got big enough, when we moved out of there and back to Swords Creek, gave up all that.
Oh. Did y'all make butter?
Yeah, Mom churned. Sure did. Make good buttermilk. Sure did.
What about pets? Did you have a dog or a cat?
Oh yeah, there's always a dog or a cat around somewhere. Most of the cats was mine though. I kept a cat all the time. Just.
What was your favorite cat you had? What was her name? Your cat, remember?
And one named Nancy.
Cat named Nancy.
What'd she look like?
She was just a gray, mixed gray, just like she was just an ordinary cat.
Well, did she do anything particular?
No, she was just a kitten cat.
Whatever happened to her?
She died.
Well,
she got old.
Got old and died?
Yeah, she just got old.
Did she ever have any kittens?
Yeah, but what didn't live after they got big enough, why we gave them away. We kept her to catch mice.
Well, when you moved down to, you lived at Swords Creek for a while, and then you moved to y'all moved to Kent's Ridge?
No, we moved from Cancer Ridge to Swords Creek, and then we moved on up in Miller Creek. And then we moved back to Swords Creek.
Well, when was it that you lived at Clifton? Did you live up in there in Clifton somewhere?
Mm-mm.
I thought you
No.
lived over in there where that little schoolhouse was. Was that in Swords Creek?
That's on Cants Ridge.
Okay, that one that you got that picture on your wall in your house, that little schoolhouse. Where's that?
No, we didn't go that. That was the little church house. It used to be a school, but
Oh.
we never lived on Clifton.
When you didn't go to school in that schoolhouse?
No,
Oh,
I went to
yeah,
church
you did.
there.
You went to church there?
Yeah, they made a church out of it.
That was after you met Daddy, wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, and you used to go to church there?
yeah. After, like if they was having a revival or maybe something, well, we'd go. But and
Well,
I
how
guess
did you-
I guess. Well, when I was really little, I didn't go over there I didn't know nothing about Clifton then.
Well, how would y'all get water? Like for washing and bathing and cooking?
Well, we had.
Okay.